Hey everybody, welcome back. So I know it's been a hot minute since I've made a video, but I just finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth the other day, and I needed to, at the bare minimum, make a final thoughts video. So here we are. So if I was religious, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and my playthrough of that game for the first time would have been a very religious experience for me. I just absolutely ate up everything that game was serving. I'm an OG FF7 fan, I'm a JRPG fan, and this is by far one of the best games I've ever played. It's in my top 10. Final Fantasy VII Remake got a 10 out of 10. This game obviously gets a 10 out of 10 too. In terms of personal enjoyment, it was freaking phenomenal. They are doing something with this series that I have never seen before. And it's so weird. I'm going into this experience. I'm already loving these characters. I'm loving this world. So they don't need to prove that to me as versus if it was something brand new, if it was a new Final Fantasy title or a new IP. So I'm already going in love. And there's something about going into this remake series in love already and then being rewarded with what they're giving us. It's just, I don't think I'll ever play anything else like it for the rest of my life. I just can't see something else being done like this, especially when it comes to like a beloved RPG, taking a single player RPG that was one game and making it into multiple parts to just greatly expand upon it and to make it great and to just dish all this goodness to the fans. I don't. But anyway, as a game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it takes all the areas we go to in the original game. It expands upon them. It makes them better. It does justice to the original game in a way I didn't think was possible. I already saw this and thought this about Remake. And Rebirth just pushed that statement even further. Every area you go to in Rebirth, like for example, and there's spoilers throughout this Final Thoughts video, there's going to be endgame spoilers, all kind of spoilers. So if you haven't finished the game, stop watching. For example, going to Junon and having that area expanded upon, and apparently there was a Republic before, and Shinra went to war with them, steamroll them, and I love that. In the original game, Shinra came to power. We never got that backstory. Now we get a whole thing about it here. Another obscure element, the Gi. That's a whole thing now from Cosmo Canyon. The Black Materia has its own backstory now. The Cetra have way more backstory to them. They just do every single area justice. Like Gongaga was such a footnote in the original game, and it has this huge area now to explore, so much to do, fantastic music in it, characters from freaking Crisis Core showing up in that area too. Man, it was eating so damn well throughout this whole experience. I was very much wondering how they were going to do the open world too in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I knew they would do big open zones, but everything was so good. I loved exploring the world map, filling it out, doing, the world map icon stuff that all these open world games has. It was really enjoyable. There's something to be said, I guess, too, for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's pacing, because there could be really long periods between the story beats and gameplay beats. Well, particularly the story beats, because there's so much gameplay in between. But other games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, where I would get bored of the gameplay between story beats, and then I was getting bored of the story too towards the end too, because there was just such long gaps. Didn't have this problem in this game. Whenever gameplay came, I was super excited. Whenever the story came, I was super excited. And even if there was 30 hours between story beats and I knew the story, there was enough new to keep me interested, and it was exciting. And until the last hour of the game, and I'll get to that last hour of the game eventually, I was just loving everything. I never got bored. Everything was enjoyable, except for some of the mini games. The mini games were very much hit or miss, but I did all of them. And not only was the story expanded upon and areas expanded upon, like the characters too, they were so well developed. Everyone got their moments to shine in this game. All the characters that we could play as, Sid, Vincent, I missed you, next game guys, next game. Yeah, every character got their due. And all the side quests very much featured one of the main cast, and you got a little bit more interaction between them and Cloud, and a little bit more development there. And way more dialogue for every character too in the main story, because there was just so much more going on. it's one of those things where I'd love to be able to erase my memory and go through it again for the first time. It's going to be one of those games. Oh, I'm very much looking forward to going through the game again, having gone through it once already, and just being able to maybe soak things in a little bit more that second time. And the combat, holy God, the combat, so fun. I was still learning things about the combat system like 100 hours plus in. I was still getting the handle of like team attacks and how to use them appropriately in the main battle system. And I was still very much getting a handle on switching between certain characters and utilizing certain characters like Kate Sith and Red 13. I didn't use them, I think, the most out of all the characters, but very much looking forward to going through again and getting more of the in and outs. They made Kate Sith actually, I don't know if that's how you say it, fun to play in this game. Like he still has that random element to him too, but he actually could pack quite a punch if you used him appropriately. Red 13, but more defensive, so I didn't use him as much. I like the more offensive oriented characters, but I could see there's enough going on with Red 13 that he could be quite viable if used appropriately. I just haven't got the handle on him yet. So no, all the characters were sold done. Oh, and everyone looks so good in battle. The weapon abilities, the synergy attacks, holy shit. I hope we have 3 character synergy attacks next game. Freaking awesome, like dial it up. The new limit breaks, awesome. The new summons, great. Everything just looks so good. They just made everything combat-wise look as good as they possibly could. I don't think there was anything where I'm like, oh, that looks lame. Like everything looks so freaking cool in this game. Like all the Wu Tai stuff is so fascinating too. I definitely want to know what's going on in that area of the world. Can't wait till we go there in the next game. I know certain areas were missed, like Rocket Town was missed, Fort Condor was missed, Wu Tai was missed. But eventually when we go there, you know it's going to be a good time. You know it's going to be a good time when we go there, because everywhere else we went to in this game was a freaking blast. And I know there's been a lot said about this game's ending, even more so than Remake. And okay, I'll get into the ending now because it's such a huge thing that people are talking about. And obviously Square Enix did their job with the ending. But no, with the ending, I very much felt the same way I did with Remake. Maybe a little bit more severely. Remake, when the ending first happened, super confused. What's happening? Oh my God, Zack's alive. What is this? And then this ending, same thing. Oh my God, is Aerith dead? Is she alive? Is she a hallucination? Is it like the other Aerith from the date that happened earlier in the game? Like so many questions were going on through my head. But I will say with the ending, don't love it, don't hate it. I was very, what? Huh? What is happening with this? I think I've come more around to it as time's gone on, and I've watched and read so many things about it and rewatched it myself so many times. I'm coming more around to it. But no, the ending on the first viewing is like, what the fuck is going on here? Remake, I very much felt like when that last hour was happening, you were at least getting a little bit of time to digest what was happening a little bit. And I was very much in the moment with Remake's ending. With Rebirth's ending, like we're fighting Genova and we're fighting with Zack, and then Aerith's coming in and we're getting all this kind of exposition from Sephiroth. And I was never able to be in it. My head was always 15 minutes ago thinking about what just happened. I'm like, is Aerith dead? Is she not dead? What is going on there? What did Sephiroth just say? Like, I just fought with Zack. How was I able to fight with Zack? My head was always 15 minutes ago, and I was always just so confused. The first time playing through Rebirth's ending, it was just way too much, way too fast. They needed to give us some room to just appreciate what was happening on screen and just slow things down a little bit. I feel like there was definitely a way to do that. And this ending was obviously made to be super goddamn confusing. It was so confusing. Oh my God. There's no way it was accidentally confusing. They were trying to confuse the hell out of us, and they did a good job. And it just almost too well of a job on first viewing. Because how many people are gonna go through it as many times as I did, or watch it as many times as I did, or read about it as much as I did, or watch videos about it like I did? Not many people. So yeah, it was confusing as heck. And I do not think I have an answer for what's going on in the next game. Me on viewing it multiple times, there's obviously hallucinating going on. Cloud is super effed up. They don't want us to know. I mean, obviously at the end of this game, she's dead in my opinion, but in terms of what Cloud's seeing and, what the party's seeing and all that, what's going on with the black materia, Aerith is acting weird. We're robbed of that iconic scene from the original game of Aerith being laid to rest. And I can't help but think that they're saving that. I think we will see that in the next game, that they're obviously trying to one-up themselves from the original game. With that moment, they're trying to one-up themselves. They took it away from this game so they can use it for something else. So, and I'm not going to pass. I will pass judgment in how the ending of Rebirth was executed. That I will. It did not need to be that confusing that quickly. You can leave us with a mystery, but holy crap, I was just so taken out of the climax of this game. It was ridiculous. I've never had that happen before. I feel like usually I'm quite into what's going on in the moment, and in this I was just so stuck in the past. It was unreal. I think they will do us good in the next game because Ultimania's come out. They said there will be answers in the next game. They are very well aware of what needs to be done. If they do us like remake and especially Rebirth and leave us with all these questions, like that is a swing and a miss, guys. Like, answer our goddamn questions, give us clarity, let us know what's going on. I'm not gonna judge this game too harshly off the last hour. Yes, it was frustrating for sure, but having some time to sit on it, it's not quite as bad now. Because very much they could do such a good job in part 3 that I'm like, okay, like part 2, it sucked at the time, but I can appreciate it now for what it was. Because I just, like Remake, so much of this game was good. Characters, gameplay, expanding the world's lore, like the lore building, like the time, the multiple worlds, all that stuff in the last hour, that story beat aside, all the other stuff they built throughout the game, expanding the main world, like with Junon and Wutai. Oh my God, the G, the Black Materia, the Cetra. Oh my God, all that was so good. Ate it up, was so well done. So I'm just imagining part three being like part 1 and part 2, and instead of having a really confusing ending, we get payoff in the end. I'm just imagining a game like Rebirth, so good, 99% of the way, and instead of that 1% confusion, it's just all payoff. You're just paid off, and just having that sense of catharsis at the end, and just being satisfied at the end instead of being super frustrated like I am at the end of part 2, and I'm sure a lot of you were too. To think that could happen and that could be what's in store, oh, that'll feel so good. That'll feel so good to have that. And I hope it's not all just laid on us at the very end. I hope we get kind of answers throughout the game. But, they obviously can do a good job telling a story. They can, because they've done it. They've done it for 2 games, 99% of 2 games. I felt like they told a good story. I thought there'd be a little bit more with like the Zack stuff and stuff like that, but obviously he'll be coming back the next game, and who knows where he is at this point. And then Aerith has still got to be answered because they've left that ambiguous for a reason. How'd she come back in the final battle, all that stuff. And the fan service will continue, and we'll get stuff from Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core before Crisis, and everything they've done with those kind of outside titles, how they've tied it in. Oh, chef's kiss, just so good. Not going overboard with it, just enough of a wink or a nod, or just directly inserting something into the game where it's not jarring to the point where it takes you out of it, but it's just fan service, just really good fan service, just so good. So no, that ending, yeah, it was something first time through, but I have faith. I do have faith. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I'll be disappointed and they'll totally botch it, but so much of it has been so good. And they have said answers are forthcoming. They know they have to answer this stuff. Aside from that, I think it was an absolutely wonderful experience. Top 10 games, probably top 5 games of all time. It was that good. And one of my buddies too, he was mentioning too about the game, just, you know, how the characters are, like they're very, very emotive, like very Japanese. And it's hilarious because I was thinking about that playing the game. I'm like, man, these characters have a lot of Japanese mannerisms that the original game didn't have because it was just polygonal, right? And even some of the later compilation titles too. And I was just like, oh yeah, because I'm living in Japan, so I could see it. I could really see the Japanese mannerisms, and a lot of people did too. But I just found it charming, quickly moved on, where I guess some people have it's really been jarring with them. But it's my jam. Totally okay with it. But no, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, freaking phenomenal game. Just want to do a quick little final thoughts video. Thought it was an absolute blast. Music, gameplay. Oh, I can't wait to go do some freaking hard mode fights. Freaking awesome. Like still learning things about the battle system. Still getting the hang of it after so long because all the characters are so well done. I can't wait to play as Cid and Vincent are going to be sick. Fighting against Vincent was so awesome. Just seeing what they did with his transformation. Can't wait to see what they do with his limit breaks. And like, is he going to limit break as one of his alternate forms now? We just get to fight as him now, have actual control with him because he was just on autopilot in the original game. Cid, what are they gonna do with your spear abilities? Dude, they better make Cid smoke. I want him smoking. I want Cid smoking and lighting a stick of dynamite with a cigarette. God, put that in the game. Put that in the game, my guys. So nah, I think I'll end it there. I could just kind of keep gushing about the music and how good the voice cast was and all this stuff. They just delivered every area we went to. Phenomenal game. But no, that's it. I gotta go. My legs are falling asleep because it's been a while since I've sat at this table and done a video. But no, thanks for watching, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll of course be back with an Eiyuden Chronicle video when that game comes out. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.